You may not be familiar with this made-for-TV movie that ABC put on in 1984, but it was called Something About Amelia. And Ted Danson was the father, and it was about incest. That movie, for society, really broke out what is incest. And if a man that looks like Ted Danson can go down the hall in the middle of the night and have sexual contact with his daughter, it really shifted things in our society, and I think began the conversation about incest really does exist. It's just not something that people read about in the news occasionally.
I think throughout my career, what I've seen is a change in perceptions about what child abuse is and what parental discipline is. I think there's been an evolution in what people are willing to tolerate as proper parental discipline. And I think that's been a good thing. Starting to understand that there really isn't as fine of a line between abuse and discipline. So I've seen a big evolution in that jurors are really starting to understand that. The police, I think, are also starting to come into an understanding of what's proper and what's not. I think as a prosecutor, it's difficult for us to come to grips with what people are really capable of. And so I think that can be the challenge, I think, for all of us. Like, I can't believe a parent would do this to their own child. I think that's the same for jurors. And trying to really persuade people that yes, people do terrible things. So I think it's trying to understand what people are really capable of and being able to process and handle that information ourselves. It can be very challenging.
In the 90s, when I started, I think people really believed cops, and people really believed forensic interviewers, and people really believed children when they said I was sexually assaulted, because it was so, oh my God, this happens, and who would lie about this? And now we are so skeptical that I think there's a problem in our society of we don't know who to believe anymore, and no one is believable, to include victims. In 2016 and 2017, I only handled under a grant adult sex assault, and we heard jurors saying this, and I just think it's a sort of a sad statement how skeptical we have become as a society. We just don't know who to believe in.
When it comes to members of the community, the most important thing is to just be aware. The children have a way of telling you what's going on that you may not always be in tuned to. So if you're around children, parents, teachers, aunts, uncles, one thing you just be in tune to what the child is telling you. A lot of kids are telling you something is wrong. You just need to listen. Also, just being aware of changes in a child's behavior. You can start to see signs that something is wrong in their life. So I think it's just being aware, knowing the kids and seeing those changes in how they behave and how they interact with adults.